Right now, we will turn our focus on looking at mega trend solutions in the space of energy and water savings from three speakers who are experts in this field. So first up is Ms. Jen Tan, Head of Integrated Solutions, Singapore and Southeast Asia, and Renewables, Indonesia, Sembcorp Industries. She's responsible for growing the portfolio of offering under Semcorp's suite of sustainable solutions, including integrating energy, water, waste, and digital solutions. She's going to touch on the topic how Semcorp leverages its sector expertise and global track record to deliver innovative solutions that support the energy transition and sustainable development. So without further ado, shall we give her a big hand, please, Ms. Jen Tan.
Very good afternoon. Hope you are still awake. In case you wonder why are females in sustainability in pink, it's just a coincidence. So when she was in pink, Dala was in pink, and I'm also in pink. We didn't plan it, but maybe it's a nice color. So sustainability is something to be happy about. That's why we are pink and bright. Today, we are going to share about some sustainable solutions. I think sustainability is a very, very big word. Everybody is very excited about it. Some people know how to do it. Some people don't know how to do it. Some people do it just for the sake of doing. I've been in the manufacturing industry for some time, and in the past, we're talking about lean manufacturing, waste reduction. Last time, nobody mentioned the word sustainability. We are talking about Six Sigma, and all this actually points to the same thing. People, productivity, planet, reduce waste, and profitability, because when you reduce waste and cost, you actually bring the company to the next height. So sustainability is about really structuring it, progressing it to the next stage where we really measure the success of all these efforts for climate, for people, for sustainability. So today, I'm going to share a bit about Sembcorp first. Okay, so my company is Koyok. So Sembcorp is a homegrown company, one of the largest renewable player, but I'm sure you have seen Sembcorp around in your daily life. If you're here in Singapore, we collect waste, and we are one of the largest waste collectors, but we have advanced from that. In addition to collect waste, we actually recycle the waste into steam in Jurong Island. We have moved our business traditionally from conventional energy. Now we are big into renewable energy. Our new slogan is from brown to green. We also have integrated urban solutions. We are present in 10 countries, and currently, as we speak, we have 16.6 gigawatt portfolio in our energy portfolio. Okay, I will not touch on other forms of renewables because in Singapore, we basically only have solar. So focus a bit on solar today. Solar portfolio for Sembcorp, we have about close to 1,500 megawatt peak. Of which utility scale is 496, rooftop is 92 in Vietnam, utility scale is in India, and in Singapore, tiny, small, little Singapore, we have close to 500, actually 424 is the data back in June, but as of now, we have close to 500 megawatts of contracted capacity. 500 megawatt is about 3,700 roofs. If I need to name the town councils that I'm deploying solar, actually is too many already. It's almost 7 or 8 town councils that we will deploy solar. So those of you who have your residentials near HDB, you'll see us around. And this contributes to 25% of Singapore's national target. And you can see the pictures on the left is rooftop, floating, and utility scale. We have a utility scale completed in Tuas area, and I will go into a bit of details later on. Okay, I'm quite proud to share this case study with my ex-company. By the way, I'm from Micron, and I'm very happy to see some of my ex-colleagues here as well. That was many, many years ago, 10 years ago, I think. And I went through a proper tender to do this project. So, just in case you all wonder, it's no friendship, but it's proper tender with quality, safety, and price. So, our aspiration is to grow with partners, the likes of Micron, to instill sustainability. Like I mentioned, if I was more expensive, it requires more effort. Micron probably, in Hokkien, we call bo hiu mi, right? It has to be better price, cheaper, more efficient, then people will want to deploy. So sustainability, solar, when I first joined, when I go and approach customers, people say, hey, don't disturb me, I got other things to do. Cost is more important. 10 years ago, solar was 20-30% more expensive than conventional energy. Hand to heart, nobody will pay more for energy one because it's an electron, right? So these days, to be sustainable, we can also be more profitable, we can also help to create more jobs, and we also help to protect climate. So this case study with Micron, we are very thankful that Micron has journeyed with us because we built a car park. I think a car park for the employees. So this 2 megawatt peak car park is integrated with a solar PV system. Not only it provides greener and cleaner electricity, it also helps to prevent your car from overheating, and your leather seats are also protected. Also another way of sustainability, right? So if you're interested in car park, feel free to go to our booth and register. It is not easy to do a car park in Singapore because of regulations. I think we have tighter and safer regulations, which is in a way good for us. So we just need to know what is required, and we are able to complete the car park. Okay, another case study is Tengah Floating Solar Farm. This is 122,000 solar panels right next to, nowadays the second link is open. So if you're going to Malaysia, look to the right, you can see our floating farm there. So there we coexist with 12 otters. Why I say 12? Because it was 9 and then somehow they reproduce and now I have 12. And we have a lot of eagles, birds, etc. So this whole area still maintain its biodiversity, still kept its tranquil feeling, but we are able to produce 60 megawatt peak of electricity and providing the PUB utilities with greener energy. We use a lot of technology here, GPS trackers, to make sure that the solar panels stay in position. We use a drone with an X-ray feature to take pictures of the solar modules so that it starts with a clean record. And we also use the drone regularly for O&M so that we don't waste the power boat to go out. We just do maintenance, necessary maintenance. Another case study here is something very interesting. This is something new that we actually turned on earlier this year. We actually combine solar with rainwater harvesting. In the past, when it rained, I actually feel very sad because I can see my revenue going down because we only depend on the sun for revenue. When there's no sun, when it's raining, all my guys are very sad because our energy is not generating. So we start thinking, when it rains, how? Okay, so for this particular solar system, we built extra sea channels, one 50 by 50 meter cube tank, and we started to collect the rainwater. The rainwater can be used for 3 purposes. The first purpose is, of course, I try to make money by selling it, but this one I need PUB approval. So if I can't do that, what's the next thing I can do? I can use it to wash my solar panels. After wash, go and clean again, wash, go and clean again. So it's recycle and reuse. And the third thing which we are doing now is to use it to cool our solar panels. This can actually give us a 6% improvement in performance ratio. So just a simple additional sea channel and a little treatment cube actually helps us to put very good use to water, which if dropped on the floor would have been a waste. So this, and the beauty of this design is when JTC called for the tender, it's supposed to be a mobile solar. So if JTC says, hey, I got an investor coming, can you move? The answer is yes, I am able to move it in 4 to 6 months. So we make it modular, we make it movable, and we hope to be able to implement this in the region where the requirement for electricity may not be for a long term, but we can move it from site to site. So in order to tie up all the 3,700 sites, different customers' requirements, we actually engage in digitalization, where we have a bird's eye view of all the facilities. Most importantly is to detect faults, to do Pareto trend analysis, to understand how to improve the performance. And last but not least is to report the sustainability statistics. Okay, I understand there are some IHLs here. Who's from Poly School ITE? My customer, my supplier. So I'm a big fan, super big fan of ITE, SP and all that. So the in the name of sustainability, it's not just for us to do a report and show our customer, hey, I'm the most sustainable company. It is really a responsibility that each and every one of us have to have. So for companies to thrive, we need people. For people to thrive, we need new entrants, we need young grads, we need ideas. This is where we start to grow the industry and the what do you call the sector, right? So when we first started solar many years ago, go where and find solar engineer, actually very hard. We either have to engage from overseas or steal from Semicon. By the way, I came from Semicon. That's why I steal from Semicon. So a lot of us from Semicon actually moved to solar, right? I think in the other industries as well. But it doesn't work that way. We need to grow the people when they are young. When they are very small, primary school, we tell them sustainability, reuse, reduce, recycle, alternative energy. And that's exactly what we are doing with ITE. ITE, we have built a little center for sustainable solutions. And we bring secondary school, primary school kids there to introduce them the early stage of solar. We also work with ITE to use students to improve. One example that I mentioned just now, 122,000 solar panels. It was actually developed right smack during COVID, where workers coming out from the dormitory is just so difficult, right? And we used to only spend 100 workers. We only had 100 workers, and they were very, very dear to us because not easy. That time was COVID and very hard to come out from the dorm. 100 workers could only do 1,000 panels per day. Right? It was a very difficult time. So I had some ITE students, they were there for attachment to learn how to do solar panel construction. And they actually gave us a very, very good idea. They were hands-on ITE students. So they actually helped us to make a custom-made jig where it can screw in all directions. And this actually helped the workers to improve the productivity from 1,200 panels to 2,000 per day. So I strongly believe that the use of these students is a mutual benefit, because not only they bring ideas that we will never think before, but we also help to develop their liking for sustainability job in the future. On the right picture is a picture that Sembcorp has taken with Singapore Poly. Some of you will ask, wow, Jen, you put so many solar panels everywhere in Singapore. What's going to happen 20 years later when the contract ends? This is where what we are going to do. We're going to recycle it. And so far, Singapore Poly has the ability, they have proven that they can recycle 95% of the panel. So we can extract it back to silver, silicon, glass, aluminium, etc. So this is, so we don't have to worry. You can put as much solar panel as possible and then recycle it when the time is up. So we will continue to work with students, the talent pool, to build the education and the training so that we have sufficient skilled manpower to journey with us sustainability in Singapore. Okay, the next thing about sustainability is not just energy. Water is to us is, especially for Semicon, for manufacturing, water is also a very important resource. So what do we do with water? In Sembcorp, we do actually all kinds of water treatment. We are present in Singapore, China, UK, Oman and UAE. We actually supply water, we recycle water and we treat water. As of now, our gross capacity is 8.2 million meter cube per day, and this is with 20 years of experience. I think the key point here is any kind of technology we have done and tried before. Most importantly is how to make sure that we measure and have a remote monitoring to measure the quality and the data. So we have this thing called the Sembcorp Virtual Brain, where we protect your asset. I think water recycling, to make sure that we don't discharge the wrong type of water into, or we need to make sure that the quality of the water that we recycle, because water can be a very precious resource, right? So we need to make sure we protect, we really get whatever you plan out to save, and then we can scale this recycling activity for the future. So this is the reason why we want to develop the digital capability of the water monitoring and water recycling. Okay, we do recycling on-site for wastewater. I think what we boast that we have is really the technical expertise and how to enhance the recycling use. right? And then this is a case study of a decentralized water recycling plant where we recycle about 245 meter cube per day. And the water cost savings, right, I mentioned, right, people, planet, and profit. This one covers planet and profit because not only you save costs, you improve your profit, but you also reduce and reuse and optimize the use of water. And of course, for this particular site, we do 24/7 monitoring to enable process and equipment reliability because water is a very important source, right? Yeah, and then more on the recycling plant is I think I couldn't emphasize more on the need for digital capability to make sure that there is always a circular response. What you do, you get the report, you Pareto, you plot the trend, and then you get actions and all that. And then indirectly, you will reduce manpower costs, improve productivity, as well as the profits that you plan out to get when you want to do the water recycling. Okay, the last segment that I have is really on Go Net Zero. I think when I first started solar, people just wanted to do solar to save money. No, at first people don't want to do solar because don't save money. Then later people want to do solar because save money. Today, all solar systems in Singapore, I think I can guarantee that it's definitely cheaper than the power that you buy from conventional source. Definitely cheaper. Always comes at a discount. If nobody give you, don't worry, come to Sembcorp, I will give you. So that's so that's about solar. But now, as Dala has spoken, sustainability, scope 2, scope 3, people become very intellectual. Scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, how to track renewable energy credits, carbon credits. I'm sure you all have overload of this. I shall not overload you. I'm also one of those companies that do that. But what's important is really from end to end. How do you produce? Where is it produced? How do you track it? The authentication of it. And the most importantly, your boss can see at one click of a button. That's important, right? Otherwise, you spend another unsustainable group of people trying to prepare a report so that the boss can see weekly. That one is very difficult. That's the reason why we came out with Go Net Zero, where it not only can track the production, how much you have produced, how much alternative energy you have created for your company. It can also track how much credits that you have created, how much you have decarbonized, and how much additional credits that you need to reach your decarbonization target. So this is the entire suite of solutions that we provide. Measure carbon footprint, set a target, abate emissions, use the offsets, and communicate. So this whole suite that we provide actually is an end-to-end solution. I mean, it can be provided in parts or in full. And why Go Net Zero? I think more importantly is because we are the producer. We know how to measure the credits. We are able to cut through the complexity. I think RECs, renewable energy credits today, is a voluntary market, and there is no government body or some certification that can say that to guarantee. So we do go through accreditation companies like IREX and APX, etc. So I think we work with them to use a blockchain technology to make sure that the RECs that people produce are authentic. So we deliver high quality environmental attributes. I think in a nutshell, this whole solution is to really, in the name of sustainability, provide productivity and efficiency for people to go sustainable. Okay, so our RECs and carbon credits track record, I mean, as you can see, we not only produce the RECs and carbon credits, we also help people to trade and to buy and make people greener. So what we have done is equivalent to planting 160 million trees. Okay, I think this is quite repetitive. It's really talking about how to make sure that we track our renewable energy credits and carbon credits using the blockchain technology. Okay, towards a sustainable, greener future, I think, like I mentioned, going sustainable is really about reducing waste, recycling what you can reuse, improving your profitability, making people happier, creating jobs, and people are continuously on a learning journey. So I think we are a an example of a sustainable company. So is Schneider. I enjoyed her speech very much. And I think the most important is how all of us can journey in this together to make the world a better place to live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jantan. We do have questions for you. The first question right here, 2 votes for that question. How can companies become more sustainable while also balancing space constraints at their plants and facilities?
For those who are building new fabs, new buildings, please make it solar ready. Because if not, we have to go and apply to SCDF, not easier. SCDF, BCA, and all the authorities. But if you make it solar ready, you can actually optimize the space. So for example, we talk about BIPV these days. In the past, when you mention BIPV, wow, it's very expensive, you cannot do. Because, of course, now, if BIPV, you can only take 50% of the sunlight. But if you make it solar ready and you put it in a place that doesn't have shading, in today's power price, even 50% is better than not having it, in my opinion. So BIPV is something that is possible. These days, if you look at the rooftop, wow, the architects are quite creative. Got trellis, got some funny shape. That one is not solar friendly. So if you are thinking about greener building, that kind of design, maybe keep it to the minimum. Have enough space that we can do solar. Another thing is Semicon, your rooftop sometimes quite congested with water system, utilities and all that. If you have that in mind, it's okay. But if you plan structures in advance and do submission in advance, the chance of having more solar is easier. Because if you already built, going in to do alteration by adding the solar on the trellis is not easy in the context of Singapore. Same goes for car park. If you already know that you have some employee car park and all that, make it solar ready so that when we come in to put solar, it doesn't have too much additional cost and is efficient enough for you to have greener energy. If you have read in the news, in Singapore, we are really space constrained. So we even talk about power import from the region. So we are really doing all we can to go green. So the other thing is, instead of just changing to green energy, which I forgot to mention, is really looking at how to reduce the use of energy. I think last month, Singapore Poly, who's Singapore Poly? I'm a big fan of Singapore Poly. So I went to Singapore Poly. I saw they have this special paint already your building, and then after that you become very efficient. So I also want to put that in my offering. Next time who do solar, I can offer painting, so that you reduce first, then I do solar. I got more energy not being used. Just kidding, but I think this Singapore Poly, the paint is quite interesting. Probably there are other people doing it as well, but I think this how to reduce energy consumption. Certain things like the chillers, the aircon. Yesterday I was at this town council meeting. So they were saying, put your aircon to 25 degrees and use a fan. It feels as cold, but use much less energy. So these are little things that you can do to reduce. So even though we are space constrained, we still can, meet our sustainability targets.
Thank you for sharing all the ideas. One more question. How can Semicon manufacturers more effectively lower their carbon footprint emissions?
I think probably a similar question is about how to reduce the energy consumption, how to use alternate source of energy. The other thing is we want to encourage green energy, right? Conventional energy is really dirty brown power. That's why Sembcorp's slogan is brown to green. And if you really have space constraint, after you really optimize all the reduction, consider purchasing renewable energy credits, supporting the idea of going renewable and really supporting Singapore of going green and meeting our green plan in 2030.
Indeed, thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Jantan, for your sharing. We really learned a lot from your sharing. A round of applause once again for Ms. Jantan.